We only have a short amount of time and I have a lot of stuff to cover, okay? Welcome to Mini Melt. And today we're going to focus on hips. So I'm going to work my way all around those hips, including inner thighs. We're going to use the full roller today. So make sure you have that. And we're going to get started with a spine stretch forward. That's going to be our assessment today. It doesn't always have to be the rest assess. That's the one lying on the ground. It doesn't always have to be that. It can be something familiar to you that helps you assess what is going on in your body. So you're sitting nice and tall with your legs out in front of you. You're going to reach your arms out front, take a breath in, and then breathe out. Nod your nose, your chin, and then your chest. And you're going to round forward and notice your range of motion. So that's what you're going to notice the first time. And then the second time, you're going to notice where your tension is. Where is your pull? Nose, chin, chest, rounding forward, relaxing those shoulders. And notice, is the pull, is it in your calves, your hamstrings, your hips, your low back? Anywhere in that back of your body, and then roll back up. You can do one or two more if you're not sure. Last one. And then roll back up. We're going to start seated on the roller. So we're just going to give a little massage to the back of the pelvis. And then we're going to massage those SI joints, a little SI joint shear. And then we're going to go to the deep hip. That is on the glutes, side hip, and then inner thigh. Okay, so we're going to have the hands behind the roller. Find a comfortable place for your hands. If the floor is too far away, put blocks underneath your hands. And we're going to draw the belly in, tuck the tail, and roll that bum down toward the floor. You can reposition your hands once you get started. So most of the weight is on your roller, not on your arms. And as you glide that tailbone toward the floor, the roller massages up the back of the pelvis toward the top edge of the pelvis. Maybe do one more. And then we'll come back up. I'll reposition. We're going to tip our knees over to the left about 2 inches. Put the right hand on the right knee. The left hand is on the floor behind you. And then we're going to just glide up and down on the back of that pelvis. If it feels better for you, you can have both hands on the floor. Finding that SI joint, it's about 1 inch to the left of the center of your pelvis. Those 4 or 5 times is probably plenty. Scoop that belly, come on back up. And then we'll do the other side. Tip the knees over to the right. So the center of my pelvis is still touching the roller. The left side of my pelvis is still gently on the roller. I'm not all the way on my side hip. 1 or 2 more times. Don't go over too far, because if you do, then you won't be on that SI joint. All right. Now we're going to tip back over to the left again. Once again, right hand on right knee. Now we're on the bum cheek. So we're going to go a little bit lower, somewhere between the sitting bone and the top of the pelvis, right on the meaty part of that bum cheek. And we're just going to kind of roll up and down, looking for that tender spot, that area of stuck tissue, that area of dehydrated connective tissue. If you want, you can make little circles with your knees. Then this creates a little circle on your bum cheek, looking for that tender spot. Once you've found it, you're going to go right next to it, not on it. And then you're going to make your move smaller and smaller. And we're going to clam the leg out, and then we're going to go ahead and go up and down a couple more times in that nice concentrated area. And then pause, and we're going to clam the leg up and down nice and slowly, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then lengthen the leg and just pause and wait. And we're going to go to the other side. So you could do this all on one side and then all on the other side. But I'm switching side to side so that we're not on that one arm too long. So the belly's drawing in, the tail kind of curls up toward the ceiling as your bum goes toward the floor. So you have some core engagement here, and you're kind of swirling around on that bum cheek to look for that area of stuck tissue. Maybe you have more than one. It's okay. Just pick one. Go right next to it, not on it. Let that leg clam out. Going up and down a couple more times. And then we're going to pause and we're going to clam up and down. So ideally, we're right on those. They're called external rotators. So when you clam your leg, you can kind of feel the muscles kind of moving, that muscles that are pinned on the roller moving here a little bit. And then lengthen that leg and relax and wait. And we'll go back to the other side again. This time we're going to come onto the forearm, roll all the way over on the side. Okay, so you'll know you're in the right place if right where the bum cheek meets the top of the leg is on the other side of the roller. So it's on this side of the roller. And I have both feet on the floor and I'm pointing and flexing. Just kind of moving that roller up and down a couple inches. If this is too much for your shoulder, you can put your other hand on the floor to help a little bit. And then we have two options here. We can drag side to side. So these muscles kind of go straight up and down, and we're just dragging in the opposite direction. Or sometimes I like to just kind of move my leg in and out, just moving my thigh bone back and forth. And then wait. And then we're going to come on off of there and we'll do the other side. Okay, I'm just going to flip around so you can see me. So if you were doing all one side, you would have come right from swirling around on that bum cheek, clamming the leg, and then you lengthen the leg and then roll over onto your side. Once again, your bum cheek is just over the side of the roller. And then we're going to point and flex the feet to move up and down. Drawing that belly in, trying not to let your rib cage sag down here. That will put more strain on your shoulder. So 5, 6 times, something like that. And then you can drag. You can let that bottom knee drop to the floor. That's totally fine. Drag forward and back. Or you can do a little forward and back here. You could also do a little internal and external rotation here. Just kind of play around with it. And then pause and wait. Relax for a moment. And then we're going to come on off of there. Okay, let's do a little interim assessment and see if just that little bit of melting helped release the muscles around the pelvis a little bit. Hopefully it did. So you're going to reach the arms out, breathe in, and then breathe out, nod the chin and round the spine forward. Notice you have more range of motion, and then come back up. And then we're going to round forward, noticing where your tension is. Where is that line of pull? And then roll back up. If you notice a difference just after that, then that's a quick, maybe 5-minute sequence once you get used to it, that you could do 3, 4, 5 days a week, however much time you have, to really kind of keep some mobility in that hip area. Okay. Now we're going to go on to the inner thigh. So lie down, and the roller is going to go out in front of you. So you're kind of lined up with the roller, and then you're going to move the top of the roller away from you. Now listen closely, because I've seen people get this wrong. You're going to put your top leg on the roller, not your bottom leg, okay? And the roller is just above the knee. And then we're going to relax that leg. We're not going to hyperextend. We're just going to relax it long. Place your top hand on the floor, and the movement is tip toward the floor with your shoulder and your hip. The roller will move up your inner thigh a little, and then press yourself away. And we're going to do this maybe 6 or 8 times. If your inner thigh is too tender for this, you're in your brain, you're thinking, ow, ow, ow. Push your big toe into the floor to take some of the weight of the leg off the roller. And it's a nice small movement, maybe an inch or two up that inner thigh, pressing into the floor to move your hips and shoulder away from the floor. I know I did more than 6 or 8, but all right, come back to where you started, and the shear here is to bend and straighten. If this is too tender, you can leave your toe on the floor and just drag it, bend and straighten. Your other option is to drag up and down on that roller. So this is called cross friction. This is what we did on that side hip when we were dragging in the opposite direction of the tissue. And then we're going to pause and wait. Push your toe into the floor, lift your knee up a little bit, and roll that roller up toward the middle of your inner thigh. Now, if the bottom part of the roller is bumping into your other leg, just move the roller up that way on a diagonal. And we're going to do the same thing here, tipping forward and back. I should mention, if this arm position doesn't feel good for your shoulder, you can put a block underneath your head and reach your arm out front. Just make sure you're not lying right on the side of your shoulder. So I'm tipping forward and back. Shoulders and hips move together. It's not just a hip movement. Let's do this a couple more times. The second spot is always more tender for me. So if it's too tender, remember, push your toe into the floor. Then we're going to pause and we're going to bend and straighten. So mostly hip stacked, shoulder stacked when I pause and bend and straighten. 3 or 4 times with control is plenty. Or you could drag, or you could do both. And then we're going to pause and wait. So this is like squeezing a sponge underwater. And then when you take the thigh off the roller, then the fluid comes into the tissue. You might even feel a little warmness in this inner thigh. I actually do right now. That means you're getting that fluid flow into that tissue. Really nice. If you don't feel the warmness, it's totally fine. All right, let's go ahead and come to the other side. So remember, you're starting parallel to the roller. The top of the roller is about in line with my chest, and then I'm moving it away. So if you looked at my body and the roller from above, it kind of looks like a K shape. All right, I'm going to rest my head on my hand, looking straight forward. Top hand is on the floor, and then we're tipping toward the floor, letting the roller move up the inner thigh. Now, if you're doing this and you don't feel anything, like, I don't get it, I don't feel anything, it's totally cool. Maybe turn your heel up toward the ceiling. Come more onto the front of your inner thigh. Test that out. Or maybe bring your toes up and come more to the back of your inner thigh. I can usually get a lot of value by lifting this heel up. And then you're going to pause, and then you're going to bend and straighten. Remember, you can drag here if this is too tender. Bend and straighten and drag. You don't have to do both. You can do one or the other. Or if you have time, do both. It feels good. And then you're going to pause and wait. Breathe in, breathe out. Push your toe into the floor, lift your knee up a little bit, and move that roller about mid inner thigh. Okay, same thing here. You just get right to it. Moving on. This inner thigh can be really sensitive for some people, so you don't want to spend too much time here. Get in and get out. So 5, 6, 8, maybe passes is probably plenty. And then bend and straighten. And then we're going to drag. Once again, you don't have to do both. You can do one or the other. And then you're going to lengthen your leg and pause and wait. And then we're going to go ahead and come on off of there. Now we're going to do inner thigh lift. This one is a little more picky positioning. We're going to take that roller about in top of the roller, about in line with your belly button. It's parallel to you. And then your top leg is going to go on top of the roller. Once again, just above the knee. The inside of my shin or the inside of my calf is on the top of the roller. My foot is on there too, okay? Make sure, even if you can get your leg closer than a 90-degree angle, we don't want it to be that way. So we want your hip to be relaxed. The thigh bone is further away from you than 90-degree angle. The setup is so important here. Okay, we're going to make one long line with the body, and then we're going to tip ourselves forward just a tiny bit, okay? We're going to reach through that bottom leg and then lift that leg up. And we're going to lower it down. Now we're going to add in paying attention to this oblique here, because this oblique is connected to that inner thigh. Okay, it's really deep connection. So I'm going to stack my hips. That's one of the most important things. Your hips stack the whole time. Reach that leg long. Bring your hand onto your hip and make sure when you lift your leg, you don't feel a lot of gripping in your waist, okay? If you do, try it again. Stack the hips and then feel that it's relaxed and then reach through the bottom leg as you lift up. That's one of the tricks, is really reaching and then lifting. It's a little tiny lift. This isn't Jane Fonda aerobics, okay? All right, we're going to hold it here for about 2 more breaths. Now, if your inner thigh isn't used to working, it might be shaking a little bit here. That's okay. And 1 more breath. Hips are still stacked. And then we're going to lift it up a little tiny lift. Lower it a little. Don't lower it all the way down. Lift it up a little. Pause there. Make sure your toes are pointing straight forward. They're not rotated toward the floor. And then lower it a little. We're going to do that 2 more times only. Lift it up a little, hold it there. Belly draws in, your hips are stacked. 1 more time, lift a little. And lower a little. If you're still feeling this in your inner thigh and not anywhere else, then you can move on to the next thing, which is a little faster. So we're going to lift, lower, lift, lower. We're just doing 4. Lift, lower. 1 more time. Lift, lower, and then lower it all the way down. All right. Well, I hope you felt that inner thigh there. Just give it a little love, and we'll come to the other end. All right, once again, the setup is really important, okay? If you don't get the setup right, then you won't get into the right pathway. So we're gonna have that leg on the roller. It's a little further away than 90-degree angle, so my tail isn't tucked. My sitting bone is reaching toward the end of the mat. I'm gonna stack my hips, put my hand on my side waist, feel a little squishy there, okay? And then I reach through my bottom leg and lift it up, making sure I don't feel like a grabbing or gripping in this side waist when I lift my leg. If I do, I'm going to lower it down and try again. This might be the whole exercise for you. Okay, so reach to the bottom of that foot and then lift it up. Little tiny lift. Remember, it's not Jane Fonda aerobics. Only lifting as high as you can without moving that hip, without getting gripping in this waist. And then we're going to hold it here. Make sure your tail isn't tucked. Make sure your hips are stacked. The belly is drawing in. And we'll hold it here for 1 more breath. It's okay if it's shaking around. Then We're ready to lift it up, hold it there. Check your stack, make sure you're not tucked, and lower it a little. My leg's moving about an inch, that's all. Lift it a little. So think about lifting from that inner thigh, not your foot. Lower it a little. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Lift it a little. Lower it a little. And 1 more time. Shh. Lift it a little. Lower it a little. Now, if you're still feeling this in your inner thigh, it's not screaming so much that you can't move it, you're not feeling it anywhere else, then we'll go ahead for the pattern, which is lift, lower. Make sure the top of that foot is parallel to the ceiling. You're not rotated in or out. Lift, lower, lift, lower. 2 more, lift. Oh, I'm shaking on the side. 1 more. And lower it down, relax. Oh boy, let's get a time check. All right, so we're gonna come on off of there and we're gonna come back up to seated. So the only thing we did was inner thigh. We did an assessment, then we did inner thigh. Now we're gonna reassess and see if the inner thigh made a difference. Sitting in your upright position, notice, is it easier to sit like this now than it was at the beginning of class? That would be a win, wouldn't it? Reach your arms out in front, take a breath in, and then you're gonna breathe out, nod nose, chin, chest, and around your spine forward. And then roll back up, drawing your belly in. And then this time we're gonna notice where the pull is. Is it more even throughout the back of your body? Do you feel less pulling? Maybe you don't notice any pulling now. And then roll back up. Let's do it 1 more time. And when you roll back up, notice, can you use your core a little more? Inhale, exhale, shh. Inhale here. Exhale, draw your belly in and roll up. And then relax your arms down. Okay. That's our happy hips sequence for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you noticed an increased range of motion or less tension, or maybe you just felt like you could sit upright a little bit easier. All of those things are amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it.